year for the plan to be executed properly in Orlando. Joining us now is a guy that played in the NBA for part of 12 seasons after, of course, being a tremendous high school player, as good as I ever saw at Newman High School, played at LSU, and rather than lamenting the negative, which, of course, was a devastating knee injury, which really curtailed him to some degree, he showed what he was capable of doing by overcoming that and playing extremely well at LSU and then having a very fine pro career too. So accentuate the positive, get past the difficulty, and then give back by coaching, which is what he's doing now at his alma mater at Newman High School. He is, of course, Randy Livingston. Randy, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure, Randy. Listen, first and foremost, I wanted to touch base on the NBA situation because you know everything about the league. You played in it. As a player, the two elements that are concerns right now, the coronavirus, obviously, and the bubble, and the social justice issues. I said earlier in this show, and if you feel differently, I completely respect every opinion. I don't think there's any right or wrong. I think guys that decide they don't want to go, I respect that if it's because of virus concerns or because of social justice issues. And guys that do want to go, I respect that for the same reasons. How would you look at this situation, and how would you analyze it? And if you were still playing, what would you do?
Well, I think as a player, and the NBA commissioner, you have to evaluate, every situation and all situations. Personally, it's my profession. I get paid to play basketball. This is how I feed my family. And if they tell me everything is safe and they have all the protocols in place, these are some of the best athletes in the world, and I would think with some of the best care too. Now, some of the coaches that are older, I would have some concerns, but hopefully they have some protocol in place for them. But at the end of the day, we know this disease is real, but I think the NBA has it covered, and I think they've crossed all of their bases. And, if it was me, I would play. I know people are saying, it's about the money, it's not about the players and all that stuff, but, of course it is. You got to take care of your family. At the end of the day, I know they have a TV deal, and that's how they get paid. They get paid from the owners, the TV, the revenue, and, at the end of the day, it's what you signed up for. And I know there's a pandemic. I know there's some social injustice issue, but if it was me and they crossed all of the T's and dotted all of the I's, I would play.
Ed Daniels with us as well. Ed?
Randy, are you convinced that there's going to be a season? You think it's going to happen, right?
Between me and you, I'm not convinced of anything right now. I hope it happens. I think with all of the resources that the NBA have, they could figure it out and could lead, and getting back to some sense of normalcy, although I don't think it'll be normalcy for a while, but I think they could pull it off. So I'm a little better than cautiously optimistic as I were. I think I'm more close to the optimistic side of view that I think they will play.
Are you concerned about guys being out for this long, coming back, and a star player or two having a major injury?
Obviously, with my injury history, I worry about it a little bit, but at the end of the day, they'll have 4 weeks. We're talking about the best athletes in the world. They'll have plenty of time a month is a long time. They don't even get that amount of time doing really training camp. They only usually get, 1 or 2 weeks in their plan. But what happens in the NBA now, and it's kind of an unwritten rule, most of the guys are teaming up and pulling up and having workouts together. So the guys that are driven are working out. They're not guys, I'm sure the guys in L.A., LeBron has 4 guys here, 4 guys there, they're working out. And that's how the league has gone. So, I truly believe that these are the best athletes in the world. You got the best trainers in the world. They will give them ample amount of time to get back. And if an injury happens, it was going to happen anyway. It's just part of, being an athlete. But I think for the most part, they'll be fine.
Visiting with Randy Livingston, Newman great, LSU great, and of course played in the NBA for 12 years now. The coach at Newman School and where he went to school. Randy, you went to Newman. You were an incredible player. It was amazing watching you play. We were all dazzled and thrilled and couldn't have been happier for you then. The injury happened, and, well, it was devastating. And to see you come back was really not only encouraging, but it was inspiring. And there's a message to be said there, too, about overcoming and about not accepting defeat. You had to overcome so much. And the truth be told, had that injury happened in today's world, you probably would have come back stronger and better, right? Things have changed a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think the medical side of things have definitely improved tremendously since I had the injury. But I had a great surgeon. Dr. Andrews was incredible. Just to be able to play, over 10-plus years professionally was, a blessing. So, at the end of the day, I feel like I'm a New Orleans native, and most of the people in New Orleans are so resilient. We've dealt with a lot, and I just found myself to be pretty much that native guy that is going to be resilient too. And that's what I did throughout my whole career after the injuries. I dealt with the cards that were dealt to me and was able to still enjoy playing and travel the world. And basketball has brought an amazing amount of goodwill and gifts for me that I could never, repay it. So
when you look at the Pelicans, Randy, what do you see? What do you see about them over the next 2 or 3 years? Can they climb the ladder and compete with the top?
Well, they definitely have an incredible amount of potential, and they got a great source of young talent. I'll tell you a funny story. Dave Griffith was in Phoenix as a video coordinator when I was playing for the Suns, and part of his job was to take care of the family room. So he's come an amazing way and has done a tremendous job in building the staff, getting Trajan Langdon, getting a lot of great basketball minds in here, and then did an incredible job in a tough situation to trade Anthony Davis and get the packages he's got for it, and then get very lucky and get Zion Williamson. You get Brandon Ingram, you get Joe Ball, and they can continue the business. So I think he did it the best way possible. You get young talent, you get assets, and he cleared a lot of cap space. Now, that's the one thing people don't give him a lot of credit for. He cleared a lot of cap space. And so I think the franchise is set up for success. You just never know with potential, right? Potential can go one or two ways. It can crystallize and become very, very good and be a team that can compete for, getting to the Western Conference Finals, knocking on the door and being in the finals, or, you can be 2-3 years rebuilding again. And I know that's not his plan, but, that's how I look at it. They're set up for success, and it's exciting times in New Orleans. I mean, they have a generational player in Zion Williamson. I think Zoe was having his best year. And, you still got to figure out what you're going to do with Drew and how he fits into it. But then they got a good group of veterans. Just talking about Drew, but you still have J.J. Redick, you have Derek Favors. And so they're set up for success. Just trust me. And I was really impressed when Dave Griffith took the job and what he did with the organization. So, look, that's a bright future.
Visiting with Randy Livingston of Newman High School. Randy, you got a podcast going right now that's pretty popular. It's very good. I encourage people to check it out because I think you're doing a great job of getting people out there and talking about things that matter in a very civil and a very intelligent way. You went to Newman. You went to LSU. You got to play in the NBA, so people automatically assume, oh, Randy's had an easy life. He's had a privileged life. With all the social justice issues that are going on right now, how difficult was it for you as an African-American growing up, going to a predominantly Caucasian high school and proceeding on from there, even in college? Was it a good path, an easy path? Was it a tough path? And what did you encounter along the way?
That's a great question. I think for me, being a star athlete that I was growing up in my high school career and celebrated as it was, you would think I didn't deal with very much. And I think for the most part, I had a smooth sailing. I mean, trying to be the best wasn't easy, I played for a great coach in Coach Billy Fitzgerald, who understood, some racial tension, where he went to Jesuit, and St. Aug played for the first time, and he's still friends with Harold Sylvester. And, I don't know if people listen to the Michael Lewis podcast, but that's a great podcast that tells that story. And so I had someone that was a white male that kind of understood all that stuff in high school. Being at Newman, I grew up in the Callio projects. I was very lucky to have the background that I had. Academically wise, I was good. So going to Newman, that part. But socially, it definitely was some adjusting. But I didn't realize it really until my senior year, when I was the only black in my graduating class, because I was just so into basketball and doing what I did on the court. And then it hit me that senior year that not only I was the only black, I hadn't really mingled with my class that much, because in sports you're usually playing with upperclassmen, you're doing stuff. And it was an odd feeling. I just think I was comfortable in my own skin. I knew who I was, so I didn't let it deter me. But when looking back at it, it definitely was an adjustment, but that was a wake-up call for me. College, you have people from all nationalities and ethnic groups, so that didn't really bother me. And me traveling the country and getting exposed to so many different type of people really helped me in that area. But early on in my life, I definitely dealt with a lot of stuff. Just growing up in the Callio housing project, single mom, working her tail off, and really had to grow on my own. So I've seen things that I would definitely hope a lot of young kids don't see. I've seen people get killed. I've seen drugs. I've seen, rampant drug use. I saw, pretty much about everything that you can see when you grow up in that environment. But at the end of the day, there's a few factors. I was good in school always, and so education can obviously get a lot of things done. And I think at the end of the day, we just need to come up with a plan. I've seen, obviously, police brutality, which is the biggest, thing going on in the Black Lives Matter. But I think just systemic racism itself is just a tough thing, and we have to have action. I think that's, the one thing. We have the bull by the horn now. I think we have to do it peacefully. I do agree with that. But we got to have a plan, because eventually this is going to die down. I know everybody thinks they have the stamina to continue to do it forever, but while we have it, we got to put some plans in place to just stem the tide a little bit. And I've been in an environment, white, blacks, Asian, it doesn't matter. People are people. At the end of the day, we just have to come together. And this has become a world movement, because, I have friends in Australia that marching, it's a lot of stuff. So I think something good will come out of this, but it's definitely a tough time in America. We got 2 pandemics going on at one time, which is unbelievable.
A couple of minutes left with Randy Livingston, Ken Trahan with Ed Daniels. Ed?
Coach, well, we enjoyed having you in our tournament, buddy. You got a good young ball club, and on the come. I hope we have our All-State Sugar Bowl National Prep Classic in January. We're hopeful, but at this point, we don't know about that either, to be honest with you.
It's a day at a time, which I think, if anything comes out of this, people have got to spend more time with their family, and you figure out what's important. I look forward to the Sugar Bowl. I look forward to coaching my, even younger team this year, but we'll be talented again. And, I'm excited where basketball is, not only from the Pelicans standpoint, LSU, Tulane, college standpoint. Coach Les does a good job at UNO. And then on the AAU and the grassroots level and the high school level, I think basketball is on the rise big time in Louisiana. So I'm excited.
Now all you have to do is tell that tournament director of that Sugar Bowl event to not pair you against these monsters from all over the country, right? Get you somebody that you can go out and beat, for crying out loud, man.
Coach, we're going to put him against the number 1 team in the country. You didn't know that. I
didn't know that.
News to him right now.
You can get some PowerPoints for it. That's all.
You got it, Coach.
That's a given, regardless. I wish you could still dress out. It was a heck of a team and a very good year for the Greenies this past year. God willing, we'll have a great season again this year, period, and everyone will have an opportunity to succeed because these young men and women could really use that structure. They could really use the discipline, the camaraderie, the fellowship, and in this day and age, the opportunity to grow and grow together is one. Randy Livingston, listen, thank you so much for taking time. I know you're busy with the function right now, for stepping out and joining us.
Thanks for having
I really
me.
appreciate you, and we're here to help you in any way. Keep up the great work with young people. Here.
All right, thanks a lot. I look forward to seeing you guys and talking to you guys more often in the future.
You got it, Randy.
Take
Okay.
care now.
Randy Livingston, boy, great story. Again, when I saw him play on the high school level, I don't know that I ever saw anybody better. And for those that don't have that price point of when he was in high school, he was ranked as one of the two best players in the United States. The other was Jason Kidd. And they were very comparable in terms of their skills and what they did at the time. It's kind of like the whole situation with Peyton Manning and Josh Booty in football, similar dynamic. Take your pick. Who was better? One won one National Player of the Year. The other won the other National Player of the Year. It was the same way with Randy and Jason Kidd. Take your pick. They were both incredible talents at the time. And then, of course, the knee injury, which was so disappointing and devastating. As he mentioned, he got the best in Dr. Andrews. But given the advancement of treatment and surgery, I think he would have come back stronger and better had it happened years later. But fate intervened. That said, he overcame, and we see what he's done with his career and with his life, and he's exactly what these young men should be looking up to at Newman and beyond. He's doing a great job.